So eukaryotes and prokaryotes, these are terms found right at the beginning of the biology course, and they're actually quite simple. They are just talking about plant and animal cells being eukaryote and bacterial cells being prokaryote. We can remember this word because karyo means nucleus, and that comes from the Greek word for nut or kernel. So you can kind of see where karyote might come from kernel, and this just means nucleus. U and rho. So pro means before, and u true. So really what we've got here is true nucleus and before nucleus. And if we look at the development of things over time, actually the things that fit under prokaryote were developed before things like eukaryotes. So for example, prokaryotes, these are your bacterial cells. And they actually evolved before eukaryote cells evolved. So in your eukaryotes, you're going to have your plant cells and your animal cells. And plants and animals developed after bacteria. And bacteria, these are single-celled. So these were more simple and came first before the nucleus evolved. So we've got these prokaryotes, things like bacteria, and eukaryotes, things like plants and animal cells. So this here is a plant cell, and this is an animal cell. So one of the things that we know about these is they've got certain different bits and pieces inside them, and we need to know more about that. But we also just need to know some of the differences between these eukaryotes and prokaryotes before we go into too much about what's actually inside each. First thing to note is that the plant cell is a little bit bigger than the animal cell, although there's lots of different plant cells and lots of different animal cells, so they kind of vary. Sometimes an animal cell is bigger, sometimes a plant cell, but they're kind of both of those are quite large cells in comparison to the prokaryotic cell. So prokaryotes, if these were all in the same scale, these prokaryote cells, they are much smaller, and these are bigger. So actually here, you're kind of in the range between somewhere from 10 to 100 micrometers. Remember that a micrometer is 1,000 micrometers is equal to 1 millimeter, so it's really small. But here we're in the range of 10 to 100, whereas here we're in the range of maybe 0.5 to 5 micrometers. So these are much smaller in comparison. I've got a little thing here, so they're smaller. Both of these have cytoplasm. So cytoplasm is just this kind of jelly that is inside the cell. They've both got those. I'm going to draw one of these cells a bit bigger for you. The bacterial cell. So a bit bigger. It may have a flagella. It may not, which is kind of like a tail to help it to swim around, but it will have cytoplasm. It will have a cell membrane, and actually the plant and the animal cells have a cell membrane as well. That's this bit that goes around the outside here and allows substances to pass in and out of the cell. And actually this bacterial cell has a cell membrane like this, but it also has a cell wall around the outside. Now eukaryotes don't have cell walls except for the plant cell will have a cell wall, but the cell wall is made of something different. So in a plant cell, the cell wall is made of cellulose, but in a prokaryotic cell, it's made of something different. It's not made from cellulose. But most importantly, both of these cells have their genetic material enclosed in a nucleus. So really, this is one of the most important bits about eukaryotes. They have a nucleus. And you can see it here on this plant cell, there's the nucleus. You can see it here on this animal cell, there's the nucleus. These eukaryotes have a true nucleus, and these are plants and animal cells. Prokaryotes, though, they have a single loop of DNA. So instead of the DNA being enclosed in these nuclei, they actually just have some DNA free as a loop inside the cell. Okay, so they've just got this DNA that's kind of hanging around free in the cell. They might also have some plasmids. So plasmids are small loops of DNA that encode one protein or one feature. And these prokaryotes, they can either have plasmids, or they can have no plasmids, or they can have 3 plasmids. It's different depending on the prokaryote, but it is a feature that we sometimes see. So there are some more things that we see. We see ribosomes, in the prokaryotes as well. And we're going to dive into what all these different parts are in one of the next videos that I do. But for now, the big thing to have is that prokaryotes do not have a nucleus. So these ones do not have a nucleus, and they are bacterial cells. Whereas eukaryotes, they do have a nucleus, and they are plant cells and animal cells. So the real big keywords here for you to have are eukaryotes and prokaryotes, and to know the difference between them. So eukaryotes, nucleus, plant and animal. Prokaryotes, no nucleus, bacterial. And that would be the perfect thing to stick down on a revision card. So press pause, get yourself 2 revision cards, eukaryotes on one, prokaryotes on the other, and just on the back of them, eukaryotes on the front, and on the back, nucleus, plant, animal. Prokaryotes on the front of a second card, and on the back, no nucleus, bacterial. Don't put too much information on those cards, but it's a really good set of revision cards for you to work on there.